Hello and welcome to the Easy Allies podcast. I'm your moderator, Brandon Jones. Joining me this week, panelists Michael Huber.
Hello.
Michael Damiani.
What's up?
My fierce co-moderator, Mr. Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
And making it all happen by starting the Zoom call in Slack, Ian Hink.
Hello.
Gentlemen, we are here today to talk about some of the biggest headlines in the world of video games. But before we do that, we must atone for all the mistakes we made last week. Ian, please begin corrections music.
Boop.
This was probably me. Xbox had an indie showcase just like PlayStation. It was the Summer Spotlight series. I think I mentioned maybe that they didn't. I don't know. But you replied to that one and you were like, that wasn't me. So it's most likely
Dude.
The Gashly Crumb Tinies, which is what I was trying to reference, by Edward Gorey, was the poem I was searching for. Edward Gorey. If you're a fan of Tim Burton and do not know who Edward Gorey is, he was doing that Burton thing way before Burton was. The Disco Elysium show will have different writers. DJ2 is searching for them now, so it won't have the same writers
Whoopsie.
as Disco Elysium. Unfortunately, Donnie Yen was attached to a Sleeping Dogs movie, but nothing happened. Mentioned a lot of other TV shows that were happening. Cyberpunk Edge Runners and The World Ends With You are both shows that are in the works. Did not mention those. Time Splitters 1 didn't really have a campaign, so that's why it was an hour and a half. It was mostly just multiplayer maps. And Netflix did interactive stuff with Carmen Sandiego, Kimmy Schmidt, and Captain Underpants. We were
it's
talking
a lot
about
of kids
Bandersnatch. It's all kid stuff and corrections music.
I think with the Xbox thing, I wouldn't. I didn't know that any of us had said anything like they didn't have one, but I was asking for more info.
I was trying to do as much. I just want to flame the console wars, Bloodworth. I'm trying to get as much, Xbox did this, did Sony do it? Okay, Sony now did this. What's Xbox going to do? We'll get into that later. But first, Gaming Gladiators. I want video game characters to battle to the death for everybody, for all of our amusement. We are getting into the finals of Gaming Gladiators, so I'm only accepting really big names. And I'm glad I got Michael Huber here, because I imagine he will be emotionally invested in this very long description of this fight. Please hold your opinions. Please hold your opinions, Michael Huber, until the end. From Cursed Seishi.
Okay.
We are getting to the wire here. So again, let me bring forth Kazuma Kiryu from Yakuza versus Ryu Hazuki from Shenmue. An all-out fist fight between two Sega all-stars addicted to racing, food, gambling, and of course, taking out the trash as they work through the conflicts they find themselves embroiled in. Kiryu brings the battle the mighty claws of the Dragon of Dojima. Decades brawling in his 80s suit hasn't slowed him down a bit. Singular in focus as he is in style, the only thing he brings to a fight is a homemade style of deceptively quick and extremely powerful hits. The cherry on the top is the Komaki style, of which he is likely the greatest student to learn it. With that, no onslaught can't be parried when the tiger drops into the ring. And in the other corner, Ryo Hazuki, inheritor of the Hazuki style of martial arts. Formal training has been his bread and butter since the first day he could stand and take up horse dances. He's no slouch in a brawl, and his hot-headed nature only exemplifies his greatest strength, his adaptability and quick learning. He's taken on masters of martial arts of all sorts, and should he get knocked down, he always finds a way back up to counter it. This is a brawl to end them all. When fists start to fly, these are our favorite guys. And when their eyes meet, we'll all be sure to feel the heat.
All right, I have some
I had
questions.
to read all of that, sorry.
I have some questions.
Oh, okay.
Is this a sanctioned match or a street fight?
This is as sanctioned as we can make it, baby. I mean, I guess
Okay,
it depends on where it is in the card, but
Are there weapons or is it hand to hand?
sure, they can't build structures unless they're that's part of their thing. But yeah, we can allow weapons, sure.
Okay. Well, if there are weapons, then that definitely I got to give it to Kazuma.
Yeah.
Especially too because he has the experience. I do want to say for all the Shenmue lovers out there, Ryo one day will surpass Kazuma in his martial arts skill. He's not there yet. He's got a long way to go. He's still on.
We got another trilogy before we get there, but
yes.
the roadmap is laid out.
He's still on the journey. Kazuma has been through it. He's gone through so many years, decades of fighting. So as it stands now, I got to give it to Kazuma.
Kazuma's gonna grab a bicycle and smash Ryo over the head.
And weapons, exactly.
There you go.
It's not even what I call a weapon. It's just whatever is there, he's gonna grab it.
Heat actions left and right?
It's time for actual video game news. Sony invested $250 million for a minority stake in Epic Games. That came up very recently in a press release. The investment was described as enabling the companies to broaden their existing collaboration across Sony's leading portfolio of entertainment assets and technology, and Epic's social entertainment platform and digital ecosystem to create unique experiences for consumers and creators. People couldn't help but notice that the first glimpse of the Unreal Engine 5 was running on a PlayStation 5. And so there is not a ton to report here aside from people kind of scrambling and trying to figure out, is this something that we could have seen coming? And is this something that actually means something beyond just raw dollars that we want to make money on stuff? What do we think?
I mean, anytime two big companies make a deal like this, I think it definitely has implications down the line. I wonder what that is. You know, $250 million seems like a ton, but if you're doing like budget video game budgets are still secretive, but like, you know, they're out there. Like I remember Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I think, was like 75 to 100 million. I remember reading at one point just to make that one game. So
yeah, I think they said something like 1.7% of the company. So that's minority stake is
yeah, so really
Definitely.
small.
Yeah. The main analysis that I've seen on this may have less to do with further PlayStation collaborations, which that would be included, but more in terms of more Sony getting involved in things like Fortnite events and, you know, having, you know, that kind of backbone, that kind of movies and music and collaborating and kind of figuring out other ways to maybe bring games and other medium together.
And like, because they're playing movies in Fortnite now. I don't know how those deals work or if Sony pays them or who pays who. I guess Epic would have to pay for that. But like, stuff is weird, so who knows what's going on, yeah.
Yeah, didn't they also add that this isn't going to have any bearing on any like platform exclusivity or anything like that, that Sony's games wouldn't necessarily show up on Epic Game Store only, and in return Sony doesn't expect like a game to be exclusive to their platform if like Epic gets it. Like there's none of that
Right.
apparently going to be happening. So it's a little interesting to see what comes of this, as Huber said.
Maybe they just bought some stock.
Right. Maybe they just want to make a lot of money like Tencent, right?
Yeah, maybe they're just investing. Like, Epic is a good company to invest in.
That's very true.
Yeah, it makes me-
Particularly after they saw the tech demo,
demo,
right?
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we really think that this technology is going to change gaming. Let's invest in that because a lot of people are going to want to license this.
Yeah, if so many games are using Unreal Engine 5, or if Sony makes a game using Unreal Engine 5 or like publishes a game with Unreal 5, is there any kind of deal there? Do they get
I mean, the
a
standard...
discount or what?
Yeah, I don't know. The standard Unreal license is like, Epic doesn't take a share until you make... They changed it like a year ago. It's like, I can't remember how much it is now, but like, I can't remember if it's units or dollars, but it's after a certain threshold is when you have to pay Epic. And I mean, I don't know if Sony, you know, they either would just hit that so fast that they don't even think about it, or like they have a different deal, but yeah.
Got it.
I don't know.
But because this could just be a financial stake, yeah, I wonder if this is something we're going to be able to track later, that we'll see something that happens next gen that we're like, that was clearly their investment, or, you know, how much because I know we usually pay attention to, it's always the question whenever we used to get those big Sony and Xbox press conferences that hopefully we'll get back to someday. And it would be the wonder, like, okay, where's Assassin's Creed going to show up this year? Where's Call of Duty going to show up this year? It was interesting to see, you know, Sony's investment in a lot of the stuff that Rockstar is doing. And so, you know, very much want you to identify with their console, with their brand when you think about some of this bigger stuff. But then I don't know necessarily, as in terms of a cultural mind share, how much that necessarily affects, you know, possibly Sony or Epic in terms of Epic people not being happy about Sony's involvement or vice versa. Not to downplay our top story here on the Easy Allies podcast, but do we think this is something that again is going to serve us again, or that we're necessarily going to have eyes on in a matter of days or weeks?
Stuff like this rarely interests me. I rarely like I'm way more into video game budgets rather than like stock and all that, like backdoor shady. This is very like a corporate thing. So I don't know, like I don't know if this is going to affect all the way down into the actual like getting the games into people's hands. This just like Ian was saying, like maybe they just wanted to make a ton of money.
They're thinking about more than games, Hubert. Epic's powerful technology in areas such as graphics places them at the forefront of game engine development with Unreal Engine and other innovations, said Sony Corporation President and CEO Kenichiro Yoshida. Through our investment, we will explore opportunities for further collaboration with Epic to delight and bring value to consumers in the industry at large, not only in games, but also across the rapidly evolving digital entertainment landscape.
The digital entertainment landscape thing is, because like Mandalorian, Disney Plus show, they used Unreal Engine, I believe, for all of their real-time background stuff. Like they shot on that big, like scythe stage of screens, and Sony, they produce animated features and television and feature films and stuff. So like I wonder if they're investing in some kind of tech in that realm too. Like it might not be video game related directly.
Well, yeah, because weren't they talking about potentially using Unreal for movie production and stuff as well?
Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody's all about that right now.
Yeah. And
watch the Mandalorian behind the scenes videos. They're so cool.
I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll get like a Fortnite like TV series or something. It's like it could go anywhere.
That's a good call, Blood. Yeah, totally.
It's like, isn't Fortnite the thing that other TV series premiere in? You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be like a down step? For Fortnite at this point. Fortnite's the venue now. I just see Epic taking a lot of weird risks and doing a lot of weird things, and it just being the time it is right now, where Sony is trying to get everyone really excited to spend a lot of money on the products that they're releasing. Interesting time to. I wonder what this has to do with anything. I don't know. A lot of people are pointing fingers at different things, but.
Well, I wonder. One always has to wonder about corporate deals like this too, because it's like
they have to.
Oftentimes it's not even like cash exchanging hands. Like maybe Sony was given $250 million worth of stock for something, or I don't know.
A favor down the line.
Haptic technology or something. Yeah, like whatever. But I mean, more likely they just bought some stocks. But I don't know.
We don't know where we're going to get an update on that story, but we can mark our calendars. July 23rd will officially be the Microsoft Xbox Games Showcase. 9 a.m. in the morning. Got to show up a little bit early for a convo with Jeff Keighley, because of course Keighley's going to be involved. So this is 2 weeks away, but I wanted to talk about this event because Xbox has been interesting in terms of going back and forth with the events that they've already had, as far as they are concerned, just in terms of the way that they've talked about stuff before they happened and the way they talk about it after the fact. Poor Aaron Greenberg is really out there beyond the marketing, talking about specifically trying to set expectations. We've seen a little bit of Nintendo doing this today, where you make an announcement, then you see how everybody reacts, and then you have a little bit more details before the actual event goes, so everybody can understand what is about to happen. And at the last Xbox event that we got, where they focused on third-party stuff, Aaron said Xbox Game Studios teams are hard at work on some big summer plans. These are those big summer plans. What are these big summer plans? Where should we set our expectations for this next Xbox event?
A game blowout.
Yep.
Next gen hype.
Oh no,
Yep, Jones, get ready, baby. This is it.
I don't know if I got.
This is it.
It's been a long summer, eh?
Yes. No. This is the one. This is 10 out of 10 maximum hype. They're already stoking the flames. Halo Infinite campaign world exclusive has been confirmed. That is just the tip of the iceberg. This is it. We're going to see, hopefully, pricing details, all the goods. I think this is the full blowout. Because they confirmed, I believe, courtesy of Eurogamer, like a while ago, like a month or so ago, they said that the Lockhart is going to be revealed in August. So this is mostly going to be games and Series X.
I think Lockhart might still be rumor territory. I don't think that Microsoft
not
has
confirmed.
confirmed the existence of this thing yet.
Yeah, not confirmed.
Not confirmed.
But yeah, I would stop short of seeing either that or pricing.
Yeah.
I think this will be very much focused on the games. I think it'll be very similar to the PlayStation 5 reveal event, except for the fact that Xbox has already shown their console inside and out. But yeah, I think very similar. That like we'll get those big tentpoles that we're expecting, and then we'll start, seeing some crazy stuff from, the GamesIndustry.biz has been, talking to those new first-party studios that Microsoft has bought over the past couple of years, talking to Double Fine, talking to inXile, talking to Obsidian, Ninja Theory. Those guys. What Playground Games, whatever they've been working on since they became a Microsoft studio in-house. So I think we're going to really start to see, at the very least, the first teases of those games, and see, the fruit of all of that, that purchasing, that buying spree that they've been working on. And what sounds really cool from those reports is that Microsoft has been very, very hands-off with those studios, and basically is like, give me the very briefest pitch. I don't want to hear too much. I don't want to influence where you're going with this. And then, when you've got it further developed, we'll talk about it more. But it sounds like they almost didn't even talk to inXile for almost a year while they conceptualize things.
Wow.
I mean, I think I agree with Blood. I think first of all, one hopes that they learned their lesson from their big quote unquote gameplay presentation that they had a couple of months ago that barely had any gameplay in it. So one must assume that there will be actual gameplay and very obviously gameplay, but then also I think structuring it kind of along those lines where it's even if it's just a brief check-in, I wouldn't be surprised if we heard from every single one of those acquisitions. At least in you see a video of inXile being well, we can't show it quite yet, but we're out here doing it. I think we'll hear from all of them.
Like EA style on that.
Yeah, but people hate that, so who knows?
Because remember they made that Super Studio, the Initiative.
Yeah.
But I know that seems too early for what they were working on. So I wonder if it will be an EA type concept art in the background type of thing.
And I was just gonna say I bet we hear from ID at Xbox too, the indie.
Yes.
Yeah. Thing.
Yep.
We'll see big first parties. We'll check in with all the acquisitions, and we'll see ID at Xbox.
I think we'll see some third party too.
Yeah,
oh,
probably.
you do? I'm hoping we
Batman.
see some. And just
Warner Brothers.
What's that mean? What's that mute button? Hold on. Ian, do you have that mute button?
Just
Yeah.
Batman forever.
I'll just kick it.
Oh, I can do it in post. What am I talking about? I can do it in post.
Hey,
Okay, we're fine. I'm sorry.
that's
Please,
not
don't
that's not blind hype. I was just they might buy Warner
You said
Brothers.
the word blowout. You're silence. You're in the penalty box for 5 minutes.
Damiani, what were you going to
What were you
say?
gonna say, Damiani?
Yeah, I was hoping to see some third party, even if they initially didn't intend to have any third party games there. It'd be nice to address what Ian brought up about several of the complaints about their original showcase, which was a third party showcase. Maybe saying, hey, we saved some of the bigger stuff for here because they weren't ready to show yet. It would I think they would earn some points back, for doing that.
They could do a make good too. Maybe all the people that were in that other one come back with actual gameplay trailers.
Yeah, just be hey, we'll make you look good now.
Yeah.
I'm also, besides potential third party games being there, I'm really curious if they're gonna demonstrate any kind of the enhancements of running on Xbox Series X with an Xbox One game, because that has been in the rumor mill. As being the word behind the scenes is that they are heavily encouraging all developers to offer a free upgrade. They don't want to do a program where they need to charge to have any of those features. It'd be really cool to see one of those, a showpiece for them to showcase the power of Xbox Series X enhancing Xbox One games, or even an Xbox 360 game jumping 2 generations ahead would be pretty awesome to see.
Because
it's going to be GTA 5.
Damiani. or Red Dead.
Red Dead GTA 5.
Damiani, you're so right.
Like for GTA, subscribe for not just kidding.
And Jones, you were saying, the console wars, and it's the war is fought on multiple fronts. It's games exclusive games, and exactly like Damiani is saying, the backwards compatibility is such a big point in the next gen race of what can it do, what are the features.
Right.
So I expect definitely them to continue that trend.
Well, I think further than backwards compatibility, there's a crazy schism in the way that these companies are looking at what next gen means. And it's really curious how Microsoft is looking to move forward, right? Because It's like, oh, we want to see, next gen Halo and Gears and Forza and all this stuff. But from the sound of it, at least for the first year or two, you're still going to be able to play all this stuff on an Xbox One. Mm-hmm. The beyond generations tag, and just moving up to better and better versions of essentially the same hardware, the same architecture, versus Sony, who is like, no, we believe in generations. We want to push to new boundaries and what we can do from a technology standpoint, and so we need to design games around these new features, and not just enhance them with these new features.
Well, and it's interesting, yeah, because I mean, like we've been saying that for a few years, where it's like Microsoft is clearly moving toward an iterative model where subscriptions are more their focus, like with Game Pass and stuff. And like it's interesting to see them navigate that, because yeah, you're right. Like they're still doing that, but they're like playing the console war game to like trick you into thinking like, oh, this is the hot new thing, when really it's like, this is the next iteration of our subscription model machine, which like, yeah, eventually the Xbox One will probably be phased out because that's just the nature of the game. But like, yeah, it is kind of funny that Microsoft is kind of doing both. It's like having its cake and making you subscribe to it too, which I like. I think it's a smart, yeah, I think it's a smart model. I really actually think it's a good play.
I do feel like Microsoft has a really big opportunity here, though. If they can hit a lot of these points and knock it out of the park with these, because I think this is the chance. I think they smell blood in the water a little bit, because I think they've gotten a sense that Sony is as good of a reveal they had with the software and showing off the hardware. The talk about the price, it sounds like it's going to be an expensive system. So I think they sniffed that. They're like, we can really hit them on price here. If we just got to show them their software that's going to be exclusive to this system or best on this system that you got to get it on. Plus, they also, sorry, excuse me. I think they also sense that like they're not going to do as well. Sony will not do as well of a job with the backwards compatibility out of the box, and there is clearly a divergence there in terms of their thinking. Sony clearly views remasters and enhancements, I think, a little bit differently than Microsoft's treating them. I think Microsoft sees that as somewhere to strike as well, and I think they're just going to pounce on these opportunities.
Well, and also like Xbox or Microsoft loves like programs and package deals and stuff like that, and like I would not be surprised, I don't know what it would look like necessarily, but I would not be surprised if they had some kind of weird way where you like sign up for Xbox Game Pass with gold and get an Xbox One like Series X like added onto that price like incrementally. Like you buy it like a phone, basically. You like pay it off for a year and a half or whatever. Like I would not be surprised if they do that. And that's the kind of thing I would see them announcing. Like if it's going to just be a sticker price, I agree with Blood. I don't think we'd see that this month. But if it's some kind of program like that that'll take a second for people to wrap their head around, I do think they might announce it this month. What were you going to say, Huber? Sorry.
I was saying just I love this like these tactics, right? Like you're talking about Damiani, just like blood in the water, and like there's rumors that's like pretty much almost been confirmed as fact now that Sony held off a lot of their games in the reveal, so they're waiting to like counter Microsoft's moves with those games now, and it's like just this who fires first kind of thing,
which is
crazy.
Good. Like that's the situation you want to be in. You want them to have a bunch of games to hold back. Like previous console launches, it's like, hey, we have 9 games. Be excited. 4 of them are bad.
I do feel like Microsoft has their course charted, though. More so, like back with Xbox One, it felt more like the wait and see thing was less a meme and like it was serious. They wanted to react to Sony. They didn't. They had chances where they could have blown people away and they didn't, and they had to backpedal on some of those decisions with Xbox One. But I think this time around, there's been speculation, they're waiting to react to this, or they want to see price. I think they have it all figured out. At this point, I think we're going to see some of their strongest software lineup on July 23rd. I thought the same Eurogamer report and another report said that there's supposed to be an August event for hardware, but I think we're going to get all the hardware details. If the Xbox Series S/Lockhart is real, it'll be there, as well as the price of both versions, and I think we'll probably get a date at that point. And there might even be one last showcase of something like, as you said, you confirmed they're only showing the campaign for Halo Infinite. They might show multiplayer and be like, hey, you didn't see multiplayer yet, check the...
Yeah.
I think they'll have individual game focuses, like kind of like mini direct style things for the, or state of plays style, just focusing on the software coming out in the launch window.
What's the nostalgia play? Gotta have a nostalgia play. Is Halo enough of a nostalgia act?
Sure. If done
I'm
well,
getting
I think.
Banjo-Kazooie. It's
Yeah,
happening.
they're gonna do some
Yeah.
kind of like
Little fable in
Banjo
there.
Kazooie or something. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I love it. Love it.
Ian, Xbox is hoping they learned their lessons. Aaron Greenberg thought, had we not said anything and just showed the May Inside Xbox show like we did last month, I suspect reactions might have been different. Clearly, we set some wrong expectations, and that's on us. We appreciate all the feedback and can assure you that we will take it all in and learn as a team. But we're 2 weeks from now. I don't know how many changes. People say, Hubert, Sony's pulling stuff. Can it be done? I don't know. Can these changes be made that close to these announcements happening, that close to these events being packaged together? And that just seems so scary. So I'm just, you have enthused me a little bit more. I'm now more excited for this than I was at the beginning of this podcast. But I'm just curious.
We're sorry. We're
It's
sorry.
not. Yeah. I'm trying to be safe about this, but it's not called the future of gaming, Hubert. It's just the Xbox Game Showcase. They're just gonna have some games. It's not the future of gaming.
Even the like stuff that we know is in the works, like Halo and Hellblade and like Age of Empires 4, Psychonauts 2, like all of those games can easily show up and are probably going to show up. So that already is a good start, and then you just throw like one or two surprises in there, and you have a badass event.
Microsoft saved the boss battles of Psychonauts 2. How crazy is that?
Oh yeah, we can get
Wait,
into
is that real?
literal.
No, what?
No, that was part of the games industry interviews. So
Yeah.
Tim Schafer was saying that like because they were running out of money, they had to start cutting the boss battles out of Psychonauts
Now I
2.
want that VO in the game.
That
Just have it just right in the middle of the
is
boss
so
fight. It's like,
cool.
man, we almost had to cut this boss battle. You know?
I would actually
This is
love to
the
see a
one.
Tim Schafer commentary like that in a game like
That'd be
Psychonauts.
really funny.
Oh, that's so cool.
But yeah, so now that they don't have to worry about money, they put all that stuff back in there. And Tim Schafer's talking about like there are all these weird games that we knew we could never convince a publisher to sign up for and to pay us for, and like now with Game Pass we can start going through the old folders and finding the favorites, and
What if
So-
that's what Sony did? They just like paid some Epic developer to be like, no, put these bosses back in the game, something like that.
Making people happy. Feels good. I will be excited. Are you potentially excited about spending $70 for games instead of $60? We could have talked about this last week because people were talking about this. Damiani brought it up, wanted to dig in. NBA 2K21 is going to be $70 on next-gen consoles. No smart delivery. If you want that thing on your Xbox One X and your Series X, you got to buy it twice.
wasn't there some kind of weird
$70.
bundle though, like a $90 bundle or something
I
ridiculous?
don't know. All I know is
NBA 2K. is
NBA 2K21.
gonna- NBA 2K.
is starting the conversation, and people are not freaking out as much as maybe other people think they would freak out. So people are like, yeah, fine. I buy deluxe editions. I pay, monthly fees to MMOs. I, drop microtransactions dollars on the franchises that I really care about. I buy DLC,
So this will be interesting if it turns out to be true. If the standard price for games goes up by basically $10 for this generation, there was, there's shown over the years that the production cost is like astronomically risen, that it's just ballooned out of control for game development, and even there have been some people in the industry have been saying that maybe it's time to do this, because there's been questions about games that do how many times we come across a game that has so many microtransactions. It's just not like you just say, I would just pay full price if you gave me all this. I'm spending more money to get all this. Just let me pay $60 or whatever to get all this. So I wonder if people are going to be like, put your money where your mouth is this time around. And so that's the first question I think that's going to be asked is, is this something people will accept if maybe microtransactions go away. They probably won't. They won't. They'll probably stick around. So I don't think
NBA 2K they
yeah,
won't.
they're not going away. So that's the difference. So this is going to be consumers are going to feel this, I think, because it's not going to change anything but make things more expensive. But two, the more important question here is we're going to see the return with a vengeance of the cries from consumers about, I bought a 5 to 10 hour game for $70. Hell no, that's not worth that's coming back with a vengeance. And whether
that
that's
went away.
fair or not,
Did we get past it?
I mean,
we
I
bury
think
that
it
for a little
subsided a little bit. There were still every now
After
and then.
the order,
Yeah.
1886 was,
That was
the
the last one
time I
we talked-
remember.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think at the start of this generation, it was like at its peak, but I think it kind of tapered off a bit. But it's gonna come right back with that if that price hike happens.
Yeah, it's been about 15 years since the last price hike, so it's definitely
Yeah, I was
been
wondering when that was.
somewhat overdue. I'm pretty sure it was when we went from
Yeah, 15.
Xbox to Xbox 360, and then Wii was still at $50. But yeah, it's weird. Pricing in games has kind of had a weird turn because a lot of people have been posting the old newspaper ads and stuff for games during like the N64 era and showing like places that were charging $75, $80, $90 for N64
I
games.
bought Turok for $80 all the way back then.
Donkey Kong Country 2 is like $100.
Uber identified with that
or
price tag
$80.
very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, but that's the thing though, is I feel like in a time before the internet and before a lot of that stuff was standard, like a lot of those prices were very regionalized because most of the games I saw didn't really go above $50 except for like N64. Then they started getting a little bit like some $60 games, like Huber said. Turok I think might have gotten a little higher, but I don't remember ever seeing like anything being like $90. Like,
oh man,
but I'm seeing the listings.
Yeah,
but I never saw that in a store growing up. Whereas I feel like kind of around that Dreamcast PS2 era, things really like flatlined and like, okay, games are just all $50 right now. And then this last generation, I think the interesting change has been there's been a lot more games that are cheaper.
Yeah.
So $50, $40, $30, $20. I think Steam pushed a lot of that.
Good call.
So it's the $60 standard now is really the $60 AAA game rather than like all kinds of random things would be $60 earlier.
It's like the ceiling now, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say too. Like lately we've been seeing a lot of people playing the field of like, oh, here's a $30 game. And I think that is what I want to see continue. Like if the ceiling goes up to 70, then like I want to see some, like the Nintendo games that would have been 50 could be 60, or hopefully they just stay 50, But I want to see like that 10-hour game that people would get mad about be 35 or something,
I love that. Don't you love when you discover that, Ian? You're like, oh, it's only 40?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Actually, and there's something for that. There's something to be said about the psychology of that. It's like it's like buying 3 T-shirts because it was a 3-for-1 sale, but it's like you didn't need any T-shirts. It's like finding out a game is $40 makes you spend that. If you thought it was 60, makes you spend that 40 real fast.
And then, but that's like our market, right? Like there's been like a lot of price changes overseas. Yeah, Australia, and Canada. Canada in particular has had a lot of craziness just because of the currency differences. But I was thinking of Japan has always had a much wider range of prices. I remember Final Fantasy 13 when that came out, that being like over $100 or something like that, like for the the Square Enix tax.
The goddess tax.
From, yep.
Yeah.
Square Enix always charges a pretty penny.
Yeah, their games always more. I mean, I think you're right though, Blood. I think a lot of that will play into factor too. I also think price potentially rising will give more justification for companies to put their games at a lower price, because now even like a $40 game might be able to bump up to 50 and get away, we're getting $10 more now, and the $60 price will now become not the standard for a full price game. So like that 10 to 15 hour game could still be $60, and it's like, hey, we're still selling same price as last gen. We're just don't get too angry at us. So I'm curious. I hope I hope to see more diverse pricing this generation. I hope, as you said, like Steam sale, or not Steam sales, just the existence of Steam and Steam doing the different pricing. Other publishers seeing the opportunity to price games at whatever they see as the right value for it. I hope the lessons learned go forward with this, but I do expect just as many publishers to take advantage of this. I will say this will only fly for PS5 and Xbox Series X games. If you're listening, Nintendo, Switch games cannot go up in price whatsoever. And until there is a brand, even Switch Pro, unless there is a Switch 2, they cannot ask for more money. I mean, they can and they will get away with it, but like that will be the biggest BS. Like, I will call
Mario
that,
stays at 60.
Oh, I will call that out. If they try and bump their price out, I'll be like, nope, get that crap out of here, Nintendo.
And they never have sales either, pretty much.
Yeah, they very rarely do. They know to predict their value. Sorry to turn this about Nintendo, but the for anyone who's curious about this, I think they absolutely should not. And if they do, people should get mad. Like get more mad about that than Microsoft or Sony charging $10 more for
Breath of the
AAA
Wild 2
games.
$70 price tag. You're taking
No,
it.
Breath of the Wild 2 $70, and it's just, it's on a Switch Pro. No. Like it's not even be close to like 4K 60. Like what's the there could be goes the value of playing in slightly higher fidelity in portable mode. I'm like, no.
So you're paying for resolution, is what you're saying? That's what that $10 is for?
I mean, you're paying for the increased production of games to make those assets to have them run in higher resolutions and higher frame rates for sure. And Nintendo does not offer that currly. So unless Nintendo wants to join Epic and put games on PC, please.
Yeah.
No.
It would be though. Like you raise an interesting point, Damiani. Though, like if all prices in the entire games industry do just shift up $10, like the current $30 game becomes a $40 game, that is nice for indie developers, like independent people. It's like if they can get away with getting $10 extra and everyone still thinks they're getting the same like ratio of a discount, that would be good for them. Which would be nice, but Nintendo shouldn't.
But circling back to the last topic, this is where Xbox strategy may pay off for them, because if people don't want to pay for $70 games, so there's more Game Pass customers right there.
That's a very good point.
And then, I think the 60 to 70 jump just seems like such an industry-breaking thing because it's a price we've been familiar with for so long. It seems like such a drastic measure, but like, just as you were saying, Blood, there's companies that are getting so creative with how they price things out, and so I just see it as just kind of one more ingredient, that could shake things. Hopefully, Ian, a company that even just doesn't make a ton of money on their first independent game, but it gets a lot of street cred, it gets a lot of notoriety, and then maybe they can price a premium for their next game. But
and like pro life hack, I think of entertainment time, the way of the dodo now, but I always divided time by movie tickets. So like if I'm entertained for 2 hours, that's the price of one movie ticket in your region. So if a game surpasses as many hours as $60 would have bought you in movie ticket hours, there's a good deal.
So Bloodborne 2 will probably surpass that for you. You would pay $70 for Bloodborne 2.
Oh, I would pay $500.
Yeah, whatever it costs.
I would
whatever
pay
it
literally
takes.
anything.
Same.
I would give them Damiani.
$500, okay.
No, Damiani.
Do you take Damiani trade-ins?
Yeah, I got this guy in my car. What do you say?
Here, this is collateral. Hold on to this while I play this.
But how do you feel? Are you willing to pay $70 for Witcher 4, or are you going to go like Damiani and go, write out some poster boards and take to the streets if there's this premium? Are you prepared?
I mean, like I said, I feel like it is one of these things that just like, in terms of just general inflation, it's probably overdue. It's like, I don't like it. Obviously, nobody wants to pay more money for anything. But at the same time, like, I sort of understand that basically a new generation is sort of the only time that they can justify this, right? Like, you can't just like randomly one day say, hey, our games are going to be $70 now. It's like, well, why? Which
is
it's
unfortunate.
A weird situation.
Unfortunate timing, though, because much of the world, because of COVID and stuff,
Right.
is in a financial downturn. So the Venn diagram of like right timing because of new console launch, horrible timing because of world circumstances. Like I wonder if they don't hike the price, if they would end up making more money on volume.
Maybe. A lot of analysts are reporting that your average gaming consumer only buys like a handful of games each year, maybe 5 max, usually around like 2 or 3. And so I wonder if a lot of that, these subscription services, potentially buying extra stuff or a DLC for one game, that's where people are saving money. But it's like, man, when COD comes around next year, I buy it. I just have to get that every year. It's just a question of if I'm going to get maps on top of that, or if I'm going to have a little, room in my budget to buy other stuff.
Oh yeah, we'll probably see Call of Duty at the Xbox event.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Take it back. Timestamp it. Yeah. Speaking of the times that we are in, everything is very digital now. We're not a lot of we do get games. We get the discs along with the codes every now and then, and there might be some retro games you want to go and pick up, or there might be some things you specifically want to get that box. If you're like me, you are primarily digital, especially if you're like me with my PS4 Pro with a disc drive that doesn't work. Capcom has reported that their game sales are 80% digital and rising. Last year, they reported digital distribution made up 53.3% of their sales. They projected 75.4%, but it went all the way up to 80%. While it ultimately depends on how our customers behave going forward, for the time being, we are promoting our digital strategy with an objective of 90%, since there are some customers who prefer to own discs. The company said we aim to continue expanding our business performance by maximizing the benefit of digital sales, which include being able to provide our content for longer periods of time and throughout the world. I like plastic things. Damiani, you like plastic things. Are plastic things going away? I think there's always going to be a need for people to have things, but I just wonder if we're really getting close to where that ceiling's going to hit for a while.
It's a little bit hard to say because the current situation. Because it's also to tie this into another company who was reporting a significant increase. Again, Nintendo said they saw Animal Crossing hit almost 50% digital sales compared to physical, which is like the highest they've ever seen, but they cautioned that it was coronavirus played a large factor in this happening. So I wonder about this year. Their last year numbers sounded pretty high too. So I wonder how much the coronavirus has played into this for their report as of now. I also am curious to know how many games Capcom puts out strictly only digitally. I feel like there are several their back catalog games that they release they re-release don't get physical releases or very limited physical releases. I'm thinking about like all the Resident Evil games coming to Switch, stuff like that. Like I don't know how much of that they don't even offer a significant portion of that, but it also is backing up what they're saying that their numbers show more people are buying digitally, and that feels like a really high number, though, compared to I wonder if that's one of the highest numbers of any of the major publishers out there that do, like, especially AAA publishers. That's extremely high.
Capcom's got, like, a special sauce, too. Like, I personally have repurchased Resident Evil games, Dragon's Dogma. I own, like, 4 copies of every Capcom game that I like. You know, like, I bought all of the re-releases of Resident Evil stuff on my Switch and didn't even install them. I just wanted to have the option.
Well done.
It's just like
Helping the cause.
Yeah, it's just like just crazy.
I don't think you're the right person to ask about $70 game prices. You spend more, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, those are all like $20.
Yeah,
they're
cheap.
Nothing.
Those are cheap. Those are
like
cheap.
$20.
But you're not gonna play them?
I mean, I thought I might
play.
at the time.
I bought Skyrim for Switch. The whole time I was playing it, I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing?
No
Open the
Resident
door,
Evil.
Get the key, shoot the bow. What am I doing?
No Resident Evil shaming, Bloodworth.
Yeah.
Skyrim shaming is allowed.
I played a
But
lot
one
of
thing,
Dragon's Dogma on my Switch, though, and even though I've beaten that game like 3 times, so.
Damiani, the one thing they were saying though is this is heavily driven by Iceborne.
I was going to ask about Monster Hunter.
I think is an interesting factor because Iceborne being an expansion.
Yes.
I think there's a limit to how many people who would actually go and get that as a disc rather than just buying the expansion online.
For sure. new people, I would say the majority of people who would even buy it that way would be new players who are just trying to get in, and it's like buy this, you get everything bundle. I don't know if they did that if you bought Iceborne on physical, if you got the base game as well, if you had to buy the separately. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
but if that's true, yeah, I see new players maybe going that way, but they probably also offered a digital component of that as well, or companion of that. And I feel like with games like Monster Hunter and games as a service, they are definitely skewed towards buying them digitally because there's so many updates and you expect an expansion. The days, no one really wants to go and buy a physical version of that. They're already playing it and they're like, no, just install the new thing. Let's go. I paid for it. Let's go. They just want to get into it. Yeah, I mean, Monster Hunter World is huge for them. That had to be a big driver for that as well. And again, with COVID, Resident Evil 3 this year.
Yeah.
I'm sure a ton of people bought that digitally, so it definitely played into that as well.
Well, and those games like the RE Engine games looking so good on PC, I think that a lot more people were buying those on Steam and stuff, obviously, than in the past. I mean, I don't even know if you could get a lot of their games on Steam until, relatively recently, right? Like, that's got to be something, too. I mean, my PC doesn't even have a disk drive.
I really never thought I'd see the day where I converted to digital only, but I'm completely comfortable buying digital games. I don't need a box anymore, like unless it's like my favorite game of all time. Like I want a box for it, but really I'm primarily digital because there's really no difference. But with movies, I'm still a disc man, and I hope those never go away because a Blu-ray and a 4K Blu-ray is significantly better than streaming a movie. Significantly. Yeah. Audio, video, that's a huge difference. But for games, like, there's no difference at all. It's just like plastic box.
Yeah, and next gen, the divide is going to be even greater because there's, everything is going to be... I mean, we already have to install everything right now pretty much anyways. But everything is going to be running off of those SSD drives. So, like, literally the disc will be nothing more than, like, a check to make sure that you own the game.
Well, I mean, that's been happening for a while. Wasn't it like... was it the PC disc that you bought for, like, MGS5 was just a Steam installer or something crazy thing? It's just
so put the disc on there. Yeah, I can see... Yeah, Huber, I'm with you. I feel like the physical games I'll only buy going forward are ones that I want, like, they have some kind of cool collector's edition. Yeah. But even that, like, even for like Final Fantasy 7, they do these digital versions now where like a lot of the bonuses aren't even physical anymore. They're like in-game rewards or cool like themes and stuff like that. But there are still a few that they will come with really cool physical stuff that I want to get that. So it's just reducing the number of ones I want like that. Also, Huber, preservation. I thought when you said movies, like the quality, also it happens in games, not as much as maybe movies, the alteration of stuff. Like you want the OG version of something after all the patches and stuff. Like you might only, the physical version, the base version might be the only way to play it with this type of content, or this song was only available in this version or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know we hear that story, Damiani, with older games. Is there such a thing with current games, given like how much the trend is going toward digital, that like new games, there's some sort of weird shortage, or like after a couple of months, it's hard to get games off of shelves or find them online? Or it seems like Capcom's leaning into this. They say that we have no problem and are actually aiming for this to hit 90%. Is that something that people who still want physical, like for life, should be nervous about, or do we think this industry is always going to have a room for them?
I mean, I think I think for video games and for movies, there's always going to be room for physical because there's always going to be collectors, and collectors will pay a premium. They'll pay a high price. It might become more specialized. It might become even more expensive, but I think it'll exist. It'll become further and further, just restricted to that type of audience. I do also think though that there's still a caution though of going all digital. The power is all in the hands of the distributor and publisher now. They delist a game, they can revoke the license. You can't play it anymore. Like licensing issues always happen every now and then. Games getting completely removed have happened. And as you're saying, like there are people who like even older games coming to digital, like it's easier to get. They aren't the exact same. One of the most famous ones is Crazy Taxi. When it came available digitally on all these systems, it's like they lost all its licensed music. The iconic stuff. It's like, wait a second. I don't have the songs? What? No, this is not Crazy Taxi anymore. This is not right. So you're gonna see more and more of that, I think, going forward, where things just get altered and removed because of licensing or other reasons, and owning the original version is the only way to play it that way.
Well, and I think that we'll see, like you said, like the rise of kind of like boutique collectors editions, which we've already been seeing. Like there's a one company, I don't remember the name of it right now, that's what they do. They like put out.
You mean Limited Run?
Yeah, Limited Run.
Yeah, I was trying to bring them up.
Like they did the Missing and stuff like that, and like Way Forward just announced or Shantae, whoever makes Shantae.
That Shantae game from 2007. That's like ridiculously expensive.
Doing all that, but like the flip side of this too is like I can imagine that companies like Capcom and whoever would love things to be all digital because it's cheaper for them. Like they don't have as much production cost, and B, like just like you said, we look upon it as a bad thing that they can like control the medium and revoke things and do whatever. That's only good for them. Like the fact that they can have 100% control is an upside. So like I could see everyone wanting this to be the case.
The Federal Bureau of Control.
And you'll like this maybe, Jones. Another aspect of this control that they could have. Sorry, before we recorded, I saw a discussion of this. I saw the topic on Resetter. The Nintendo Vault was the topic. These companies maybe hold it like Disney Classics go to the Disney Vault. Maybe video games go to the video game vault when they're only available for a certain time. Then they take them away.
I refuse.
I
refuse.
Not like this.
I refuse.
That video game vault. No.
It's a proven model. Disney's been doing it forever. Disney even does it with Disney Plus, which reportedly would have everything under the sun. It's like this random Disney Channel movie from the 2002 won't show up on here until November 2023. Like, all right,
you watch.
Why?
Tell you to watch.
Yeah,
exactly.
what the heck?
False
Among
scarcity,
these
man.
5,000 options.
But yeah, I mean, if you look at how the music industry has kind of evolved, like there's still that, that you've got a gigantic digital market, right? It's mostly digital, but there's still, there's that hardcore, way that vinyls have come back, and people putting out like novelty, like cassettes and all of that kind of thing. So,
but I think vinyl is the perfect example because then it's collectors. Because like CDs, it's like vinyl has that quality, I didn't mean to cut you off,
baby. I'm all digital. I'll stream movies too, Huber. I don't care. Just give me
Terminator
the content. 2? I don't care about quality. Just
Terminator 2 4K? Delicious.
I was with Don in a Best Buy, and he just suddenly bought some 4K. I think it was like Batman Forever or something.
I respect that a lot.
I just turn around and he's just buying something in 4K Bluray.
That's a solid Don play. Ooh.
I don't think
it was like I turned my head and he just suddenly was like gone.
That's how we see this. Could he bought it in digital that fast? We don't know. In that moment, we don't know. Compelling argument. Also this week, the actors and developers of The Last of Us Part 2 got some death threats. Don't do that, people. Don't do that.
Please don't do that.
This industry doesn't seem to be willing to stomach stuff like that. Certainly Naughty Dog is not. They submitted. They had a thing they wrote saying as much. And it's tough because you get really frustrated when you see stuff like that, but at the same time, it's good when people are have the strength to post stuff like that because it's a perspective that not a lot of us get.
The thing that just is incomprehensible about that is like it's an actor. It's an actor playing a fictional character in a fictional video game written by someone else.
Yeah.
Like, why threaten her? Why threaten anyone, first of all? But why threaten her? Like, are you deranged? Yes.
Right.
But it's just so far removed from reality. I don't know. Whatever.
Speaking of reality, I never thought I would get a story like this. Pro gamer Karma was struck by lightning while streaming. I love Blood. We posted that in Slack Blood, and you're like, I'm not watching that video. It was pretty intense. Technically, the house got struck, but they did have a controller in their hand. They got a little shock there, but they're doing fine.
Have you guys?
Yeah, you don't have to be that close to lightning to be hit by lightning.
That's what I was gonna say. Have you guys?
My brother's been hit, so.
Have you guys ever been close to lightning?
I have been close to lightning.
AOE.
It's insane. Lightning struck in my backyard as a kid, and I was in the basement, maybe like 10, 15 feet away. The heat was crazy.
Wow.
It was very loud.
Yeah, lightning struck near me. I just remember like everything was turned white. It's somebody was
Yeah.
it was like a 10-mile photo camera, just just for like a second. It wasn't like, oh, the bolt's over there. It was just like Xerox white, just for a second.
And you just feel like an intense heat, and then it's gone. And you're just like,
Yeah.
what was that?
Lightning's fun. Shout out to Lightning. Ninja's first YouTube live stream drew over 100,000 viewers, in case all of you were wondering, A, where he was going, and B, if anyone
Yeah.
would watch him when he went there.
Well,
The answers are
I
YouTube
mean,
and yes.
That's not where he necessarily is settling on.
Right.
Just where he decided to do his first stream after
Dipping his
post-Mixer.
toes.
Yeah.
I do wonder.
Yeah.
I do wonder if he and Twitch got like into an argument or something, because like Twitch seems like the
Probably.
obvious choice to me. But yeah,
He probably wants a certain amount of something, and they probably are not capitulating.
yeah.
Or Mixer gave him a better deal, and that muddied
Mixer
the
gave him
waters.
the best deal
with-
ever by buying him out.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's also
Hopefully well
some
for him.
hesitation from Twitch right now with like all the bannings they're having to do, and
Oh,
especially
I
like
bet.
their Doctor Disrespect thing, which we still have no idea what happened with that.
Well, and he's
So-
claiming he's like a scapegoat now. I saw, and it's just like, oh boy.
But it's like, yeah, if someone that big can be affected by something, they might not want to take. They might not be in the mood to risk a big contract with anyone right now.
EA's partnering with TBS for a 4-episode Sims reality show, which I wish we
right.
could have talked about last week. I think that was very, very shortly after the last podcast, but four episodes. I'm so
Do the
curious.
Sims know that they're... Is it like a Truman Show type thing? They
don't
know
know
they're
what.
being
I don't know.
But wait, are they?
controlled?
I think there are Sims players that it's
Oh,
focused
okay.
on.
I was gonna say, like, is it
Oh, okay.
machinima or what is it?
I was gonna say, yeah, is it
Okay.
like that Ryan Reynolds film coming out?
That
I
movie,
don't know
that
all the
movie
details,
makes me
but I think
upset.
that's more the angle.
That does
Free
make
Guy
more
movie.
sense.
That Free Guy movie makes me upset because it's like weirdly similar to Seedlings. Like the first line from Seedlings is basically a line in that trailer.
Well,
And
that's
we
not coming
pitched-
out.
Players compete to tell the best stories.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Gotcha.
But we pitched
Cool.
Seedlings
That seems like
to
it'd be cool, actually.
a lot of people's. Makes me a
Mafia
little-
Definitive Edition launches September 25th. The gameplay reveal is now on July 22nd. Huber remains skeptical. Earth's
So
defense-
skeptical. I've never been more skeptical of anything in my entire life. Prove me wrong, Hangar 13.
I like saying the
Prove me
word
wrong.
Mafia Definitive Edition and then just watching Huber's face. It's fun. Earth Defense Force World Brothers revealed. EDF meets Minecraft, from what I could tell, right? Is that what this is?
It's voxels, yeah. They're saving voxel Earth.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's cool.
That's
go,
a perfect
EDF.
title for an Earth Defense game.
Yeah.
Don't want this one to slip by. Dark Pictures anthology Little Hope launches on October 30th.
Yo.
That Dark Pictures anthology.
we gotta
Oh
make
my
sure-
god, we're streaming.
We gotta
We're streaming
tweet
that
that.
Halloween Eve, All Hallows Eve, baby.
talk
Let's
about-
go.
We talk about games that are more or less than $60. We talk about anticipating things of a certain length. We know what we're gonna get. With
Yes.
that next one, we have a pretty
Yes.
good idea. Maybe not the plot, maybe not the twists, maybe not if I should open that door or that door. We generally know how satisfied we're going to be with more Dark Pictures anthology. Although I missed out on the last one, I'm bummed.
Oh yeah.
Not this
Well,
time, Blood.
You'll be
Jones.
like, what to expect is like, have a little bit of fun, and then at the end just go like, Until Dawn was probably better,
We'll see.
because that's what we
got a
did
goal.
in Man of Medan.
Yeah.
Halo 3 is coming to PC on July 14th. Way forward,
Okay.
we talked about this, bringing Shantae, Risky's Revenge, Extreme Sports to Switch, and Mummy Demastered coming to Switch and PS4.
nice hidden gem. Don't skip it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've like long loved that game.
Love that game.
A long, long love.
Long love.
Shantae had a good week. There's something about Shantae. There's something about, because it's like, when I think about other platform icons like that, none have as many games as Shantae has. Like, what happened? It's like Shantae has as many games as Rayman, but doesn't get enough clout as Rayman? Like, what's going on with Shantae? Do people
I
treat
think Shantae has
well
more
enough?
clout than Rayman right now.
Yeah? Okay.
She's riding high, baby.
I love Rayman though.
Yeah.
All right.
I've never played a
Everyone loves
Shantae
Rayman.
game. What?
Everyone loves Ray, man.
Oh gosh.
Oh god.
All right,
Maybe we'll
you
get
want
him
me
in
to
the
kick
arena.
him? You want me to boot him?
Yeah.
Just hover over those mute buttons.
I like it, Damian.
You already traded
loved
me in.
I loved it, Damian. Oh yeah, I need you around so I
Already
can sell
traded
you
in.
for Bloodborne.
I'm trying to get out of there.
This also
Let me
Way
out.
Forward also potentially almost got in trouble because they mentioned that there was Nintendo said there was something coming from Way Forward, but then everybody got excited and started guessing what that was, and then they say, wait, no. It's going to be a third-party project that Way Forward is working on that will be announced tomorrow in Treehouse Live. So by
At
the time
end, or some point during it, yeah.
there will be a Treehouse Live tomorrow focused on the Paper Mario and
Do
the
we know how
Origami
long
King.
the Treehouse Live is going to be?
Well,
That could be
It
7
probably
hours.
says on their YouTube video page or something. I don't think.
Bloodworth, is it Castlevania?
I think, yeah, me and Ben both think it's Castlevania. So.
That would be nuts, dude.
Jones, you get mad for me spouting like probable things like
That
at the
seems-
Xbox thing, and now Bloodworth is saying one of the like most intense words there
Right.
is,
Right.
Castlevania,
Right.
and you look stone faced.
But see, he's got
Konami's not doing it.
saves him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's the
I
thing. You got to
mean,
save him
yeah.
for just the right amount of time.
Can't be
that little
Contra.
spice. Oh, see, that's the thing. It's like if I get a meal, you know, of gaming news from Daniel Bloodworth, there's a little you put a little kick on that chicken in the corner there. Whereas like all I get from you is hot wings all the time. All I get from you is just like don't touch your face, kind of still with the warning on the side. You know, just like water, please. I need. Hubert keeps talking about, please.
That's fair. Fair enough.
What's funny though
we'll see.
is Ian mentioned Rayman. I mean, it could be Rayman.
Damn it.
That team's not
Could
you know
be.
making games at Ubisoft anymore. You
Yeah.
know, so
Castlevania, please.
Ben also mentioned Prince of Persia as a possibility, which outside chance. I think probably
I think
not. Prince of-
Ubisoft would want to
Yeah.
do that, right?
Konami is so weird, though.
I mean,
don't think
Ubisoft has their own
Castlevania-
event coming up in a few
Yeah.
days. I feel like it'd be a
Yeah.
little weird for it to be.
Yeah, either one of those.
Totally.
I'm
It's
nervous.
hard to think about what else it could be.
These are all
but they,
legitimately
you know,
exciting things, and that move on Twitter where they're like, we see everybody going in a direction. Don't stop doing that. Don't go in that direction. That
Yeah, because they said
downplaying
the way they
it, like,
worded
how
it.
much downplay to like a B tier exciting thing. I don't know. It seemed like
The way they worded it
D
was that
tier.
Way Forward would be working on a new property that they have not worked on before.
Right.
And since the only other thing in that tweet was them talking about Paper Mario gameplay, everyone's like, "Oh, well, it's gonna be a Nintendo franchise,"
Right.
and then they backpedal and like, "It's not a Nintendo franchise; it's third party."
I feel like
which then makes it sound like it has to be another video game franchise
has-
because, yeah,
Yeah, I feel like it has to be something decent because it's so random just to tack on a Way Forward announcement to the end of Paper Mario.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, I'm still gonna say Nintendo might just be lying to our faces about this because the Metroid helmet in the Paper Mario original trailer and on the dialogue, it's like, and there are rumors about another 2D Metroid. Maybe they're just messing with us. I mean, maybe Nintendo's just having a fun time,
because
laughing it up.
Castlevania would be too big for the end of a Paper Mario gameplay, right? Like,
I mean, coming off like Lords of Shadow and then kind of just like nothing for a while.
yeah.
Do you
What we
come
need-
back huge or do you come back soft at the end of a Paper Mario thing? I don't know. That's a good
Here's what we
question.
need: the video games industry needs like an independent third party, like commission that knows all secrets of every press conference beforehand, but they're like the press Waterhouse or whatever. They're like the Academy Award people, like top
Yeah.
secret, high level secrecy, and all they do is assign a like disinterested objective hype assignment
I love it.
to like how hyped
trust.
you should be for a thing.
Trust.
1 out of 10.
They just like that person just carries like a GoPro with them, and then they literally captured their face the moment they heard about it, you know, and so you get to see that face.
Computers
You
do
know?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have someone
Well-
who's like kind of interested in everything. The computers, or you have like 20 people. The computer
Yeah.
gauges all their reactions and assigns it a value, and
Yeah.
then says this presentation is a 6 hype.
Right.
I was ready to be a 6, but when Daniel Bloodworth starts throwing out Castlevania rumors,
They've worked on some pretty thing. They did DuckTales Remastered. They
That's
did
true.
They tried to do a Double Dragon revival, Double Dragon Neon. They did the Contra thing. They've worked on Aliens. They've
the
worked
mummy thing
on
that they did.
They did that Batman, the Brave and the Bold game back on Wii. Boy and Blob. Like, they've done a lot of... I mean, Contra 4 is the one I was thinking of, sorry. But, I mean, they've done
Contra's
a lot. They've worked with a lot of different things. But you said if it's true that something they haven't worked on, everything I'm saying has been ruled out.
Right.
That they've worked on a Shrek game, everyone, so it can't be a Shrek game, so sorry. Yeah, I'm kind of curious because I feel like it has to be somewhat of a big deal to be tacked on to an official Nintendo thing and being isolated. Otherwise, they'd like tell WayForward to do this on their own or tack it on to like a mini direct, the one rumored to be happening on now July 20th, apparently.
Right.
Is a day.
It wouldn't be like a Yoshi's Island or something, right?
Because they said it's not working with a Nintendo property.
Right.
Okay.
That's why people were going
Unless
really
that's
nuts.
a lie, yeah.
Unless it's a lie, and it is Metroid.
But it would make sense if they're keeping in the theme of Paper Mario that it would be like a 2D thing. Oh my god.
And the best part,
Oh my
Yeah, I mean, most
God.
of WayForward stuff is 2D.
Yeah.
everybody listening to this podcast on Sunday knows how very wrong we
Knows
all
how wrong we are.
That's true.
Everyone listening on Friday does too. This thing's
Oh yeah,
happening
this is
early.
tomorrow, isn't it?
Podcast
Yeah,
not gonna
listen
be
to
up
it
before.
before.
Oh,
Yay!
it's tomorrow.
Lots of stuff getting announced,
So
dated,
everyone's-
and priced. Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown announced.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
There's a weird one for you. The Molasses Flood delays Greg Hollow. No, I was excited for that. To an undetermined
Greg
launch
Hollow.
date. Well, it was coming out in like a week or so. Remothered Broken Porcelain was delayed to October 20th. Seems like the right time to play that game. Pokemon Go has made what in 4 years since launch? Approaching another record year. How much has Pokemon Go made? How much?
Billions. Several billions.
1.8 billion.
3.6 billion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Approaching another record year.
They-
I'm mostly sure that I said this was going to be still successful at this point, but gosh, I hope I did. I hope people can go back into podcast lore and find me saying that, yes, people will still be around playing Pokemon Go.
Pokemon
Gosh
Go
darn it, they are.
has made
$70
more
per
than,
game, who
like,
cares? 3.6 billion, who cares?
Avengers Endgame.
Avengers Endgame,
Yeah.
dude. More than the
They
highest
charging
grossing
70 for
movie
nothing.
of all time, Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't Ryan Johnson just direct a commercial for them or something?
Pokemon Go
Yeah, I
makes
saw that.
more than all movies.
Yeah, somebody did. Yeah.
Yeah. Then all movies.
But this is
Holy
free.
shit.
Super Hot Mind Control Delete will be free if you bought Super Hot. I think
So
until
cool.
until a couple days before it comes out, there's like a cutoff or something. It's like the 14th or the
Yeah.
16th.
Yeah, there's a
You gotta-
cutoff next
July.
week.
If you want that deal, go buy that Super Hot. You should just do that anyway.
Super
Crash Bandicoot on the Run is bringing the character to mobile in a trailer that showed
July
so
16th.
very, very little mobile footage. It's very, very funny.
Runner game, right?
July
there's-
16th
yeah.
is when the Super Hot deal ends.
Crash Bandicoot on mobile is probably what you expect. There is a Tetris competitive game show coming to mobile, which shouldn't have been the reason that Kyle left Easy Alex, man. To go host that.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of like your trivia. What was what was the trivia thing that just Amanda played it all the time? It just tanked. It just like went away like 5 or 6 months
Oh,
ago. That was like the
yeah.
big thing, like 5 p.m. every
Yeah.
night. People would go
HQ
in.
or something?
HQ, there it is. It's like very HQ style. Lots of different ways you can play Tetris. Coming to mobile. Curious to see how that does. And the PS5 box art finally revealed. Just got a little white border on the top. Your PS4
Looks clean.
thing,
Wait, that
they
was
get a little
real?
Yeah.
white border on
Yeah.
the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got your
Sure,
Miles
yeah.
Morales
Official Miles
box
Morales.
art.
Looks
Check
clean.
it out.
Huh.
Got a
Okay.
white border on the top.
Why
There
not?
it is. Just add it to the list of other things that Sony is doing.
It's not gonna matter because we're all
We're
digital,
all buying
baby.
That discal
Right.
for
Right.
50 bucks less.
They don't have to worry so much about the packaging design anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make it cheap.
It's time for Love and Respect.
Love and respect.
From Wisconsinite. After playing The Last of Us Part 2 and currently playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I got to thinking about art assets. In The Last of Us 2, the majority of assets seem to be unique. In Xenoblade 2, there are reused assets everywhere, and it hasn't affected my thoughts of it negatively. Would a game like The Last of Us 2 suffer if it had less unique art assets throughout the game? How important is it to have a different chair than the room you were just in? Or
I
are
mean,
these just inherently different games?
inherently different games. Last of Us is focused on immersing you in the world. I haven't played Xenoblade, but like I'm not saying it's not an immersive game, but like Last of Us is trying to be realistic. It's trying to draw you in. It's trying to put you in that world.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, both games are trying to do that, but the approaches are extremely different, right? Like Xenoblade is about just just the enormity of it all, you know, and like you exploring that world is more about like, yeah, it's about seeing all the way across that giant waterfall and realizing that like there's not going to be any loading time between here and there, and you can jump off of this bridge and fall for 30 seconds and then swim to the waterfall. And you know, similarly, you know, you can look across, you know, from the Bionis to Mykonos every once in a while, and it's just that sense of scale that's still kind of ridiculous that they managed to pull that off on the Wii. And that's the other thing that's very important to keep in mind. Like, this was on the Wii. You know, they just improved what they already had.
Well, they're talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I thought, specifically.
Are they talking about 2 or 1?
2.
John? Oh,
which is why I'm a little
playing
confused because even with 1, I don't feel like there's a. I mean, playing through Definitive Edition right now, I don't feel like, especially on Bionis, the more organic life form looking area with the jungles, the snow areas, the giant plains. That didn't feel very copy paste at all, like reused assets. I didn't get that sense at all. The mechanical side of it, you get that vibe. They did a pretty good job, but like towards the end, there's a lot of like repetitive feeling corridor stuff because you're in enclosed spaces. But Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I thought had more distinct because it was like higher fidelity. They definitely, like, even the villages I thought didn't have that same vibe. Maybe I'm forgetting. I guess maybe they're talking about the NPCs or something like that, or indoors it looks samey, but you can't really go like a lot of indoors and houses in the first Xenoblade, so that's probably like the difference, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think it's just art style. Just if a game is realistic, you just notice it more for me. You know, if it's a JRPG, it's like, I don't know, I just notice it less.
Yeah, like to me, there's kind of a diminishing returns because like for video games, and not just Last of Us, but like a lot of games that try to get like really, really close to super realistic, like hyper. Like I'm curious about this effect in Cyberpunk, even though it's in a hyper future kind of setting. Like I feel like you get into an uncanny valley of realism with video games, where for me personally, at least, I feel more immersed in a game that's maybe not trying to mimic reality so closely, but just has a consistency within its own world. Like I feel more immersed in like Breath of the Wild or something than, you know, some other game that's trying to be super realistic. And I think that there's definitely hurdles when you're set in a reality or close to our own reality and close to our own modern time, because we have that frame of reference too. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing, because in the case of something like Last of Us, where, I mean, yeah, because the amount of work that went into all those really impressively done unique assets, and like something I appreciated is like assets like that show up again, like makes sense why they're showing up again. It's like, oh, that person took that with them. That's cool. But that realism then makes you notice and get like nitpicky about other little things where it's like, well, that's not very realistic, because it's like they've set this expectation, the bar so high, you know. Whereas as it's like, if they had just like, and not this wouldn't work for Last of Us, but games that just like, you know, go for a style, even if they are modern, you know, you kind of forgive more, I think.
Like I compare like Persona 5,
Persona's a perfect example,
to Last of Us. Like Persona 5 is so stylized, so I forgive it more.
Exactly.
I don't notice it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
From Gaspard, a very silly game. Allies, those wacky game devs are at it again. More specifically, Hideki Kamiya and the fine team at Platinum when they made the Wonderful 101. In this wonderful edition of Real or Fake, I have a list of 15 wonderful ones you may or may not acquire on your journey through the game.
Oh, no.
And your job is to determine if it's real or fake. Hope this was fun, Allies. Unite up, Gaspard. All right, there's 15 of them. I'm going to do these fast. Were these...
This is going to shame us because
Yeah,
Ben
I've
Moore
never
is not
played
here,
this.
and the
I've
rest
never
of us
Exactly.
I've never
have
played
not
I
put
know
enough time
jack
in.
about this game.
Well, we're doing it anyway. Number 1, Wonder Toilet.
No.
Real or
False.
fake?
False.
Real.
Real. Number 2, Wonder Dancer.
False.
False.
Real.
Real.
Real. Number 3, Wonder Planet.
False.
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 Real?
Fake.
That
What
is a
what's
fake
the word?
Wonder.
Yes.
Number 4, Wonder Gramps.
Fake.
Real?
Real, please.
Fake.
Wonder Gramps is real.
Yes.
You were frustrated. Fake. Number 5, Wonder Liquid.
Fake.
Real.
Fake.
Fake.
It's fake. It's fake.
Damn it.
Number 6, Wonder Magnet.
Real.
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 Oh, fake. Number
Two
7,
normal
Wonder
premise.
Santa.
Real.
Fake.
Real.
Fake. Same as fake.
Real.
Yeah.
Wonder Voodoo.
Fake.
Fake.
Real.
Real.
You got it, Huber. You got it, Blood. That's real.
Damn it.
Yes.
Wonder Medusa.
Fake.
Real.
Fake.
Gotta be real.
Fake.
Fake.
Gotta be real.
I was doing very well at this at first.
What about Wonder Sand, Ian? Wonder
Fake.
Sand.
Real.
If Wonder
Real.
Liquid was fake, Wonder Sand's
Fake?
gotta be fake.
Good point. Yeah, that's fake. Good call. I like your logic there. Wonder Sister.
Real.
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 Real. Y'all got it. Wonder Ghost.
Fake.
Real. Gotta have a Wonder
Voodoo
Ghost.
was fake. Voodoo was fake.
Fake.
I'm gonna say fake.
Voodoo was real.
Oh, Voodoo was
You
real.
gotta have a ghost.
Ghost
Wonder
is real
Ghost.
then.
Wonder Ghost is sadly fake. I could totally get
What?
Wonder Ghost. Wonder Money.
Skip.
Wonder Money.
Yes, real. Let's do it.
Real.
Real.
Totally real. Wonder Director.
Real.
Real.
That's
Fake.
too weird.
Not only real, Kamiya's cameo in the game, apparently.
Ah.
Finally, Wonder Spaceman.
Real.
Fake.
Bowie.
Nah.
Ah,
Damn.
Wonder Spaceman in that game.
I think we did.
50-50
guys,
on
Bart.
that.
Yeah, 50-50. I'll say 50-50.
You did all right.
I don't know who won, but somebody did. Hal Olsen.
Ian or Blood?
Greetings, allies. I want to cry. I have a hunch that many others want to have a good old cry right about now as well. What game would you suggest I play if I want to end up babbling in the shower? It could be sweet. It could be devastating. I just want wet eyes.
Life
Hal.
is Strange 2. Right now. Cue it up. Have fun.
Brothers, Tale of Two Sons.
Brothers is good. I wept at the end of
Wrecked.
Outer Wilds, but that's probably just me.
There's got to be somebody out
I
there.
think no. I think other people that can happen too.
Rhyme.
Oh.
Hmm.
Edith Finch.
I
is
haven't.
pretty
I haven't finished it, so I don't know what the ending is like. But there's definitely some moments in Ori.
Nice.
I feel like
I
Dear
would say
Esther.
I would say Ori as well, especially the new one.
I got to play more crying games.
Bound. Kind of emotional.
Ooh, yeah.
A lot of people had an emotional response to Journey as well.
I
didn't
definitely,
really.
yeah, I definitely got all swept up. But yeah, not for traditional reasons, just because I was like, emotionally, I don't know how to process this. Like, this is a lot of stuff happening. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Trying to think about the details, but I feel like Vanishing of Ethan Carter and What Remains of Edith Finch, both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good picks.
G the Finger. This week I pick up a game that's been the subject of many harsh criticisms online, but one whose story I wanted to take part in. While I was expecting a halfway decent tale, I was not prepared for how enraptured I would be with one specific character. Every death sentence they cast, every unforeseen betrayal, and every heinous act they performed in a relentless pursuit of vengeance left me simultaneously infuriated and thrilled each time they appeared on screen. I never wanted, in my 25 years of playing games, to kill an antagonist more. That game was Middle-earth Shadow of War. I can safely say without a shred of
I
irony,
was gonna
I
say,
knew
what's
it.
the twist here?
my nearly dozen
Well, this
encounters
is a
with
setup.
Hosh Grish, Taker of Heads, led him to be more memorable to me than story arcs I've seen in Telltale's Walking Dead, The Last of Us Saga, and Life is Strange. And the wildest part, everything from each individual clash to Hosh Grish himself was created from a simple random number generator. So, it's very not simple, but I hear you. So with next-gen technologies being touted and story-based games continuing to flourish, I ask the allies, will we ever see a future where a story in a game could be 100% dynamically generated and rival those narratives that have been created by hand? Will algorithms one day compete with authors, adoration and admiration? Just like your Blood, your Witcher real-time dialogue, or what was that? Where he was like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, I went sailing
yeah.
on a boat. What was it?
Yeah.
Like Garrett was
Yeah.
talking in real time. But we have it. Yeah, this is. I definitely struck out on this because after the first Shadow of War, the Shadow game came out, I was like, oh, this is. Everyone's gonna steal this. There's comic book games are gonna come out that have this tech.
Dude, Jones, how perfect.
There's gonna be at least one other franchise that's just gonna
How-
devour this system, and it's really just been just these two games.
How perfect would this be for a Batman game, Jones?
Yeah, don't get me started.
Like, come on. I'm so surprised. And it's WB. It's like it's their own parent company. So you think it would have kind of seeped into a potential Batman game, but
On Community Showcase this month, somebody brought up like a dynamic Die Hard game where it's like they're like the people
Yeah.
you fight aren't in any particular order. You just gotta like go around that building and see what happens, you know, like so you can, you know, all the
sick.
replayability where you're trying. Then like obviously, if you kill one guy's brother, you're gonna piss off his brother, or if you take them out in ways where they don't understand what's going on, that could potentially change their personality and how abrasive that they get.
It's pretty different, but don't like Divinity and Baldur's Gate like have crazy systems like this, where it's like a lot of stuff happens more dynamically?
I would not be surprised. The 6 hours of Divinity 2 I played that barely scratched the surface illuminated how complex that game was.
Do we?
I definitely think this is the future, though. Like,
Yeah?
This is. I think it's potential. I'm not going to say it is or isn't going to happen, but I can absolutely see this being some kind of future tech experimental. Maybe not on the scale of a giant AAA game, but like an indie game that does something like this, smaller scale.
Well,
Absolutely.
the Alien and Alien Alien Isolation had the AI that. You know what I would think would be interesting with this is sort of a combined approach, where you have a game like Cyberpunk or something, where like, you know, they did as much writing and stuff as they did for this Cyberpunk, but then the world could be like 50% bigger because AI was good enough that it could like fill in the gaps and like invent little weird quests and story moments for characters that are like side things. I think that maybe is more likely to be the future of something like this, where like AI gets smart enough to just fill in all the gaps and make things realistic in that way.
Yeah, what did Skyrim call it? Like Radiant Quests or something that, right?
Yeah.
So like something more along those lines, you know, towards like, yeah, there's sort of some like you're saying, like a bunch of pre-written pieces, but you don't necessarily go to such and such inn and meet said guy. Like, said guy could be any number of character models in any number of places.
Oh, sure, that way too. Yeah. I was thinking like Westworld too, like where it's like all the lines are written, but then if something gets weird, the game just adapts and like other things fill in too. Yeah. But also just thinking like, instead of having a random NPC that just says like, good morning, you know, like if you break their bike or something with your car, they have to go buy a new bike and they're mad at you, and like the next time they see you they're like, hey, you broke my bike, you're that guy, like give me money, you broke my bike, you know, whatever.
Yeah, GTA would be an interesting series for this.
Oh yeah,
this is what I'm looking forward to at Xbox
too much,
next
though.
week. This is what I want.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's too much to ask for.
I would say like Rockstar and CD Projekt love their writing too much to like leave it up to chance, right? Because it's like almost like,
who knows?
I hope this works. Like,
Whereas Bethesda doesn't care how many bugs there are, so
Right.
go all for
Just
it.
got to find the right developer that cares about the right things.
Bethesda, you're right. Bethesda. This is a Bethesda thing.
Yeah.
Hey, let's hope it works, everybody.
No, 'cause
You might get a cool story.
they're not spending time making those games look good and run well.
Oh my goodness. Fallout, your story, maybe.
Yeah, if it works.
That's your story. It is time for bets. Next week's bet. Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town launches tomorrow.
Dude, Ian, that is freaky.
Yep.
Every time.
Good lord.
Not Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town. Ian has, Ian's eyes have turned outward. And
Jeez.
his
Tentacle
fleshy
eyes.
bits are now protruding and searching the immediate environment around his head. But
very
Story of
creepy.
Seasons Friends of Mineral Town launches tomorrow. How many cows will be on the back of the box? Screenshots or hand-drawn. So these can be cows in a screenshot. These can be cows that are being just drawn. There's one cow on the front that we can see of Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town. Very nervous. This is my first back-of-the-box bet. We will see how it goes. Ian, how many cows?
2 cows.
Two
Which
cows.
Isn't that the name of like hover domain registry? Never mind.
I don't know. Michael Damiani, how many cows?
0 cows.
No cows.
Mm.
Okay.
least
Michael
we're on
Huber,
the
how many
same
cows?
One cow.
Oh no, yeah, they're
Moo.
across the board. I went big. I say 3. 3.
I also say 2 cows.
We went high. Okay. All right. Locking them in.
I still have a cow somewhere from old Harvest Moon.
Don't have a cow, man.
Maybe
Whoa.
maybe from that era of when the original game came out.
Like a stuffed animal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not something I used to have to like keep them under lock and key because people at E3 wanted them so badly.
One of the cows?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like
There was
those
a highly
Cyberpunk
coveted
jackets.
E3 swag with those cows.
My goodness.
I wouldn't be
Dude,
surprised if Bloodworth was just raising a cow this whole time.
Last week's bet. Iron Man VR launched last week. I have now played it. I had not played it, and I got a good chuckle when I found out who won this bet. But I had not played it before we recorded the podcast last week, and I wanted to know how long into the game until we heard the word Tony. Started the clock when I started the game. I bet 1 minute 30 seconds. Daniel Bloodworth bet 1 minute 42 seconds. Ian Hink bet 1 minute 6 seconds. Damiani bet 2 minutes. Ben Moore doubled me with the 1 minute 30 seconds. The very first sentence of this video game is, "Hi, I'm Tony." So it doesn't matter how long that loading is. That's literally the beginning of the game on a black screen. I had the headset on. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
That's so funny.
Wasn't it Ian that had that short bet? It was 1 minute and 6 seconds. So congratulations, Ian.
I got it.
You won that.
Victory.
You got it. The team got it, a.k.a. the Jovial Penguins, which now have 6 points.
Damn it! Hang on.
Oh, that's
What?
it.
Oh,
Damn it,
no.
hang on.
Yeah, he probably says that.
Leaving the Astonished Scorpions with 4. There we go.
Forgot to pull up a quote.
That's fine.
Damn.
Maybe that means you'll lose next week. When you get those good
Ah.
quotes, maybe that's what locks you in for
Yeah.
those victories, of which they've had far too many, Bloodworth. We need to get focused on that. I don't know, that 2 and the 3. I don't know.
Well,
Hopefully
I mean,
there's cows.
if
Hopefully
I
there's just
get
like
it,
a big,
we're sharing the points. So.
hopefully there's a big just kick line of cows on the back
Oh yeah,
there.
if
Fingers
blood
crossed.
wins. I
Cow
also
wallpaper in the background.
Whoever
Let me tell you-
wins, we lose.
What?
Nothing.
Let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. Patreon.com/easyallies is where you can go to primarily support the allies, is where a lot of people go to support us financially. There's lots of ways that we make revenue here at Easy Allies. We got the ad sponsorship. You can follow us at Twitch if you would like to subscribe to us there. Primarily, we make most of our dough through Patreon, through our wonderful thousands and thousands of patrons that go there, that join various tiers. For $5, you can get this podcast early. You can also be a part of the Blood Pact. What's the Blood Pact, Blood?
It's kind of like a book club-ish kind of thing. So basically, we kind of go with the theme, and then we pick a game, and then I'll stream that game and write a blog about it, and then whoever wants to also write a blog about it can do so as well.
If you want to get mentioned at the end of this podcast, you can join the shout-out tier, but you might want to have joined it before, but then you said, that shout-out tier's full. There's too many people getting that shout-out tier, which is why we've opened up said shout-out tier, added a couple more slots on there. So if you would like to get involved in the shout-out tier, if you want to experience the madness that can only be read off of Michael Huber's face right now, who understands the intensity of a shout-out. We don't want to do these too loud, but we just want to let people know how important it is to us for people at the shout-out tier. So thank you for patrons of Easy Allies. Go check it out. Definitely check out all of these shout-outs right now. Are we ready? Ian, you're going first. I'm going after you. Huber, you're after me. Damiani, you're after Huber. And then Bloodworth, you're the caboose. Are we ready? Shout out to Blue, Caleb Togi Crawford, L. Fanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, and a sponsored shout out for Black Lives Matter.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
We can do better.
Well, you just get so close.
You're
and
the
then
you're
you're
judge,
so
jury, and
loud.
executioner on how the shout outs go?
Jones, man, you lagged on that. Ian was done by the time you jumped
That's
in.
true.
Straight
That
up.
is true.
I did. I was hoping
You
nobody
are
would
peaking,
notice.
though. You're up there close.
All right, let's try it again. Shout out to Blue, Caleb Togi Crawford, L. Fanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Black Lives Matter.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
That was
Master
choice.
Huber. Did we make it happen?
I think so.
right.
I was really close to you. I jumped pretty quickly. I was a little nervous,
No, it
was
was all right.
but it was
Yeah.
good.
But now, quiet. Because Ian Hink, you get to close out the podcast. You get to promote any Easy Allies video you'd like to promote. You get the final word on anything you've disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped into your head. And you get to sign off with your trademark sign off.
I would say watch Hunting Huber. If you're a patron, there's a new episode. The next week's episode, you get it early. And if you're not a patron, there's a new one on YouTube. We had a lot of fun with this series. Don and I have been alternating the edits for which episodes. And yeah, it's just been a blast. And I think that it's a really fun show. Yeah, so there's that.
I really like how varied the games are. Like you would
Yeah.
think they would all involve guns, but nay. there are many ways to make Huber suffer.
Some surprising moments in that series. Final thought. I don't know. Just be nice. Damn. Good night and good game.
Batman. Warner Brothers